Hello, it's John here for another 850 tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be creating and animating a speech bubble. So I have recently been playing quite a bit of the new Persona 5 game, and in there they have a sort of speech bubble that bounces around and it's very sort of dynamic, and it really got me thinking about the whole way that games use speech bubbles is just this pop in, pop out kind of thing, and that's kind of nice. But this, as well as a lot of things, really takes the user interface and really styles it effectively and nicely. And we're going to try and recreate that. So let's jump straight in. So this is a test I did earlier of the sort of style that we're going for. A couple of things in here should be fairly straightforward to recreate. Let's go 1920 by 1080 canvas size. And I'm going to drop my speech bubble in there. And I just created this in Photoshop using a bunch of shapes. And I'm going to drop a red on there because Persona tends to use Persona 5's color scheme is a sort of red, black, and white stylization. Just three colors. And I'm set up to go. I'm going to be using mainly just one effect on this to create what we're going for. And most of the effect happens around here. There's not much animation over this side, but the animation's around here. Now, obviously, you can sort of tweak this and change this however you'd like to do it. For your own product, if you want to take this a bit further. But like I said, I'm going to try and almost recreate that Persona 5 style because it doesn't detract too much from the text that you've got on the screen, but looks dynamic. So I'm going to use an effect called Liquify. Now, Liquify is a tool that you can also find in Photoshop, so some of you might have used it before. And obviously it's in After Effects as well. And what Liquify does is you've got a whole bunch of options in here. And all do like different things like bloating and shrinking and twisting. Let's sort of see. Just as a demonstration, if I were to twist this, we can get sort of a cool effect around here. And Control Z that. And then you've got your Smudge Tool, which just drags things around. So it gives that sort of effect. And I assume it's called Liquify because it's imagining if the ink was in liquid, you'd be able to push it around, sort of like that. We're going to be using a combination of the bloat tool, which is we're gonna use this to sort of scale up around the areas that we want to scale up, and we're going to be using the Smudge Tool as well for a bit more dynamic movement. So I'm going to do the scaling first. So my bloat tool, I'm going to select a nice big brush, and I'm going to loosely leave the pressure the same. I'm just going to scale up around here a little bit, around here, and here. Maybe a touch on the corner as well. Why does it keep switching to hand? Maybe just like a touch over there. And here. So if I had to roll this distort percentage up and down, in fact better than that, if I toggle it off and on, we can sort of see the effects. It's going to roll between these two. So, I could play with that, tweak it a bit more. I might just, for now, I'm just going to sort of put that in place, leave that, and I'm going to alt-click on the distort percentage and press on the expression editor and put in a random number. So random, and I want it to go between 0 and let's say 120. And now if I press play, we can see the pulsing that it's doing around here. And a little bit over there, some action going on over here. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty nice. But as well as the pulsing, I want to also add some up and down. But I'm going to control this separately. So I'm going to create a new layer, but it's not going to be a new layer, it's going to be an adjustment layer. And I'm going to put Liquify on here as well. And in this one, I'm going to be using the Smudge Tool. And again, nice big brush. And what this is sort of going to do is I sort of want to pull things up and down a little bit. Oh, that did not look good. Let's try it again. Up a little bit, and up a bit here as well, and up a bit here as well. And again, maybe just sort of do a tweak around here too. Not much, just a little bit. And why does my arrow keep switching to the hand? I'm not pressing anything, apart from maybe the middle button, but that shouldn't do it. Cool. So I'm going to repeat the same thing. This time I'm going to alt click on here, go in there and again repeat the random. And similar, I'm just going to test this out with 0 and 100. You know what, let's go 120 as well. And let's see how this looks. I'm going to turn off the Liquify on this one though, just for the test. So there we go, we've got the smudge working as well. So let's see what it looks like with both turned on. I feel like it's almost a little too much. I think the scale needs to come down a bit. And maybe wiggle descend a little bit as well. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is in here, go into it, find the effect, liquify, distort, and in the expression, I'm going to just actually set this to about maybe 90. And in this one, I'm also going to smudge. Actually, that didn't look too good. Let's try it again. So lift the tail a bit as well. Let's see how that is. That looks pretty cool. I'm happy with that. And not quite done there. As well, I want it to be more dynamic. In Persona, what they've got is they've got like, you know, name of the character here and then like an exclamation mark at times to really make the whole thing look good. But ultimately, the most important part of a speech bubble is the functionality of the speech bubble, and that is, will the text still be legible? So it's important that if you are trying to animate this speech bubble, that you know, have this main box around here is still going to be legible. It's not going to be bouncing around much. So that's why I want to try to put the effect on the right side and maybe just a touch as well in the other areas. I'm going to go into my effects presets and I'm going to type in wiggle and drag a wiggle position as well and drop that on here. So by default, the wiggle position is quite high. Let me just continue off the previewing. You see we've got like sort of a lot of movement, don't want that much. Going to drop you to maybe about 5, bring you up to a bit faster, turn you back on. And with this wiggle, we should be getting just a little bit of movement around, you know, sort of where our edges are. Let's preview and find out. So you see how there's just a little bit of movement, not too much, not too little. Now I'm gonna leave the rest of the cells. Maybe drop this actually down to 2, and then I'm gonna do one more part, which is gonna right-click these, pre-compose them. That'll do. And in here, I'm going to time stretch. Because at the moment everything's sort of happening really fast and I don't want it to happen that fast, and this would be sort of like the quickest way to fix that. Stretch it by 400 and then let's have a look, see how that looks. Looks okay. I'm gonna control Z then, do it again, but just at 300 this time. And cool, that is sort of ready to use. Let me try. You can sort of tweak it, and if I was to export this now for for a game engine, I'd probably take the frames per second down as well, just a little bit, to make it a bit less erratic. So it'll still be functional, but I wouldn't want that many frames. Cool. I'm actually going to take it up to 24. And there you have it. What have we done? We have used the Liquify tool to create a sort of bulge effect, scale effects in specific areas, and we've used the adjustment layer with the Liquify to push areas around. Dropped our preset wheel position on there, edited it down, got ready, and now we are ready to take that with alpha, and we can export that out, and would be good to sort of use that in whatever way we want to. Cool. Hope you found that useful or a little bit interesting. Like I said, been playing a bit of Persona recently. Been really recommend it in terms of the user interface and the style. They're doing lots of really nice, stylish things. I'm a bit tempted to do sort of like another tutorial as well, maybe inspired by that, because it's really cool in terms of the stylization and the game as well. If you liked what you saw here, if you found this useful, or you just want to chat to me, hit me up in the comments. Love to chat to you guys. Thanks for your time.